Yo, it is time to go over PSSA Power 67. You should have already done this, and you should be checking your answers. Now, in the first question, it says, what is the first and third quartile of the data below? To save time, I already have my numbers in least to greatest order. So if you did not put your numbers in least to greatest order, you already know you're going to be wrong. Now, one good thing to do is always count your numbers. So when I count my numbers, I notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 numbers down here, so I know I didn't miss any. Now, because 7 is odd, there's going to be 1 in the middle, the median. So if I were to count 3 here, 3 here, I'd get to this 23 right here in the middle. Now, when you're finding the quartiles, you've got to split your data in half, but remember, that odd one in the middle doesn't count for either half. So when I do that, I have a lower half of data here and an upper half of data here. The quartiles are the middle of those halves. So the middle of these 3 numbers is 17. The middle of these 3 numbers is 24. That means the quartiles are 17 is the first quartile. I'll label that Q1. And 24 is the third quartile, which is Q3. So 17 and 24 is A. If you had that, give yourself a C. Now we are going to move over to the percent proportion. So if you figured out the answer without the percent proportion, that's fine, but I want you to do the percent proportion with me. So just because that's the important thing you need to know. Now remember, the percent proportion just means 2 equal fractions. So I'm going to have a fraction equals a fraction. And also remember, we do percent over 100 is over of, but since this is a real world problem, we'll do part over whole. So I'm going to get these numbers written in. So first thing I see is 98%. So I'm going to write 98 over 100. Now part over whole, I have to read the problem to figure out what's the part, what's the whole. So when I read the problem, it says Aubrey had a 98% on her test. She had 49 problems correct. How many total problems were on the test? So since we have to find the total problems on the test, I'm going to label that T. We don't know how many total problems, but we do know she had 49 problems correct. So if you think the correct problems will be part of the test, the total problems is the whole. So the 49 goes here, and the T, oops, that should be a 49, and the T, or whatever your variable is, should be here. That's what we don't know. Now to do this one, I noticed that I can do 98 into 49. Now if you were to divide 98 by 49, you'd get 2. So that means 98 divided by 2 is 49. 100 divided by 2 is 50. So the correct answer is C. Remember, if you did not do percent proportion, you need to have it written down here after you've gone over it with me. Okay, third problem going down. All right, now we have not done absolute value in a while, so I'm curious to know if you remembered it. Now remember, it says which expression represents the absolute value of -3. And the absolute value of -3 just means how far away -3 is from 0. So to show that, remember we use these bars here to represent absolute value. So this expression means the absolute value of -3. So you should have B. If you forgot that, just remember, this would be the absolute value of 4. This would be the absolute value of -10. Those bars just mean absolute value. Last one, we've got a histogram. The question says, how many homerooms had more than 20 students? So I'm looking to see. All right, I'm looking at my graph here. I see the numbers on the side are the number of homerooms. Down here are the number of students. So I'm looking for homerooms that had more than 20 students. So 15 to 17 is not more than 20. 18 to 20 is not more than 20. So these 2 bars are going to be homerooms more than 20, because this 21 to 23 and 24 to 26 are more than 20. So I'm checking out these 2 bars. And the first bar has 6 people, because if I look over here, it's at 6. The second bar has 2. So if I combine those, there are 8 homerooms who had more than 20 students. All right, make any corrections and be ready to do the next side tomorrow when it is graded. Thanks, guys.